Hi everyone, thanks for coming. I think we can get started now. So yeah, the first talk is by Ashley Hua, and she's going to be doing combo AMC level. Yeah, you can start now.
Okay, I'll share my screen. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Can you see my screen? Okay. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, great. All right, so today we're gonna talk about stars and bars, which is a common technique you can use in some combinatorics problems. All right. The first example is how many ways we can partition a positive integer into an ordered sum of positive integers. For example, we can partition 4 in 8 ways. One of the ways we can do it is 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. We can also do 1 plus 3 and 2 plus 1 plus 1 and so on. So one thing that we can observe is we can represent this using stars and bars. So since we have 4 numbers, we can represent that with 4 stars, and we can partition them by placing bars in between the numbers. In this case, for example, what we can do is if we place the bars in between like all 4 of them, then we can get a partition of 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. If we place them, say, between the second and third, then we can get a partition of 2 plus 1 plus 1. And so the number of ways we can partition the number 4 can be found by the number of ways we can place these bars in between stars. Okay, so in general, this problem would be equivalent to finding the number of subsets of n-1 potential bar positions. So say in this case, if there are n stars, then there will be n-1 bar positions. So each of these position has 2 choices, whether it has a bar or it does not have a bar. So the total number of combination will be 2 to the n-1. Okay. Another common problem is if we want to find the ways to partition integer n into k ordered non-negative numbers. This problem can actually be quite hard to solve if we want to do a direct case analysis, because we would have to consider the different cases for a number of balls in the first bin and analyzing the remaining bins and balls recursively. So another way that we can think about this is to find the number of ways we can put n identical balls into k bins. All right, so say we have 8 balls here and we want to put them in 4 bins. So what we can do is use 3 bars to separate them. So for example, if we have 1 bar here, then this is if there's 1 star on the left of bar 1, then that would be like 1 star in bin 1. And say there's 2 in between bars 1 and 2, so there's 2 in bin 2 and so on. This also allows us to have 0 balls in each bin. For example, if we want 0 in bin 1, then we can put none stars on the left of bin 1. And similarly, we can also put 0 in bin 3. Okay. All right. So what this technique allows us to do is to have a general form to solve these kind of problems. What we want to do is to consider the stars and the bins together. For example, if we have 8 stars and we want 4 bins, what we can do is use 3 bars to partition them. And the number of ways we can place these 3 bars would be equivalent to adding together the number of bars and the number of stars. So, and choosing the number of, and finding the number of ways that we can choose the bars out of the total. So in this case, if we have 8 stars and we want 4 bins, then we can add together 8 plus 4 minus 1 and choose 4 minus 1. So in general, if we have n stars and k bins, then we will have n plus k minus 1, choose k minus 1, which is a common like formula, right? So we can just do like n plus k minus 1 factorial over k minus 1 times n factorial. Okay, cool. Okay. So let's look at how we can apply this to some problems. So all 3 of these are actually asking the same thing, and we can do this by visualizing this using the stars and bars. Okay. So for example, if we have 8 identical cookies and we're distributing them to 3 kids, then what we can do is consider the cookies as the balls and the kids are the bins. So yeah, this one is just like using our formula from before, is the same thing. Okay, the next question is like, how many solutions in non-negative integers are there to the equation x plus y plus z equals 8? And we can also see this is the same problem by letting, so there we let 8 be the balls, and so x plus y, x, y, and z are the bins. Okay, and so this third example appears slightly different. We will ask how many different packs of 8 crayons can you make using 3 different types of crayons. However, we can actually think about this the same way by considering how can we distribute 8 crayons into 3 colored bins. So they all have the same answer, which is, so we have 8 stars plus 3 minus 1, choose 3 minus 1 equals 10, choose 2 equals 45. Okay, cool. All right, so then we can do some more problems. So this problem is like the same as what we've just seen. We want to buy 4 donuts from like a supply of 3 different kinds, glazed, chocolate, and powdered. And we want to find how many different selections there are. So this is the same as saying that we want to choose, we want to distribute these 4 donuts into 3 bins of glazed, chocolates, and powdered. Okay, so similar to the crayon problem, what we can do is look at the number of stars, which is 4. And since we want to distribute them into 3 bins, we're going to use 2 bars. So the total number of positions would be 4 plus 2. And then we're choosing the position of the bars, so we would choose 2. Okay. And the next problem, okay, wait. The next problem is looking at the probability of the sum of 7 fair standard 6-sided dice. So like so basically this question is just asking for how many different possibilities there are that will generate 10 when these 7 dice are added up, because that number over 6 to the 7 is the probability that this can occur. Okay, so unlike the previous problems where each bin can possibly have 0, so in this problem, like each of these 7 bins has to have at least 1, because that's the least number that's on the face of a dice, right? So instead of distributing these 10 in 7 bins like we've done before, what we can first do is allocate 1 star per bin. So we first give each bin 1 star. So after we've done that, there's 3 remaining. And so this becomes a problem of how can we distribute these 3 remaining stars into the 7 bins. And we can do this problem the same as we have done before. So we can have 7 stars and we distribute them into 3 bins, which means that we have 2 bars. Okay, cool. Okay, this next problem is finding n such that n denotes the number of 7-digit positive integers, which have the property that their digits are in non-decreasing order. And we allow some repeating digits. So to clarify what this means, so the numbers can increase or they can stay the same, but they can't decrease. How we can view this problem is, again, by looking at the number of ways we can put some stars into a certain number of bins. So because there have to be an increasing order, we can write them out as 1, 2, 3. And we have to start the sequence using 1 because the lowest, because that is the lowest possible number for the first digit of the 7-digit positive integer, because we can't use 0 as the first digit. And since the other digits are have to be increasing or stay the same, that means the other digits also have to be at least 1. Okay, so the way that we can find the 7-digit integer is to just place stars into each of these 9 bins, and that will give us the number of possibilities there are. For example, we can place maybe 1 star in this bin and then 2 stars here, maybe another one here and here, and in total there's 7 stars. So this gives us 1, 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 8. So so this becomes a problem of distributing these 7 stars into 9 bins. And again, following our previous formula, what we can do is to have 9 stars plus 7 minus 1 minus 1. Cool. So that is like the last problem that we will look at. And one of the fun fact of this technique was that Max Planck also used this in his paper when he was, and this paper also won the Nobel Prize and led to the quantum mechanics revolution. So the problem that he was trying to solve was distributing p number of photons into n resonators, and you can see that he also used the same equation here. Okay, cool. So I realized that I think the presentation go faster than I expected, but so the homework problem would be like a twist of the first example that I gave. So in the first example, what we wanted to find was the number of ways we can partition an integer. And for example, for 4, we found that it can be done in 8 ways. In this problem, what we want to do is to find how many parts there are in all these partitions and add them all and find the general form for integer n. For example, 4 could be done in 8 ways, and in each of these ways, we can count the number of parts. So this way has 4, this one has 3, 3, and so on. And in total, when we add them up, we can have 20 parts. So what is the number of parts that we will find when we for the partition of a general n? So yeah, that is all. Okay, please let me know if you have any questions.